We're live. Blessed be everyone. Welcome to another Mystery Witch School live stream. Today we're talking about the truth about intuition. And while we wait, for those of you who are not on here yet, welcome to those of you watching the replay. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what to expect today. And as people join, I will welcome them as they join. If you're watching the replay, just remember there is super thanks there if you're wanting to help support the channel. So today we're talking about intuition. And I wanted to put to you, what if I told you that intuition isn't some mystical gift that's reserved only for a select few? Because I think sometimes we're told that that's the case. What if it's something that every witch can develop, that you can deepen, and that you can trust? So in this live stream, we're going to explore what intuition actually is, what it truly means in witchcraft, and how to strengthen it in your practice. Goodo. Okay, so today, a lot of you if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. And if you're returning to the channel, welcome back to this live stream. Welcome back to this video. So my name is Sandra. I've been practicing witchcraft for over 35 years now, and I help other witches who are struggling to create a daily practice of witchcraft, to bring witchcraft into their life, to give their life meaning, or witches who have been practicing for a while, but they're wanting to deepen their practice, how to confidently integrate magic and ritual and spirituality into their life on a daily basis. And one of those ways is to work on your intuition. But the thing here with intuition is that when you do turn up for yourself every day and you do integrate magic and ritual into your life daily and connecting to spirit daily and connecting to yourself daily, your intuition actually just starts to improve as you go. You'll find that it's not about improving your intuition at all. It's about learning how to listen to it because it's always there. It's always been there. It's just we've been taught that it's not important. We haven't been taught at all how to listen to it. And in some cases, intuition is even seen as being something that isn't true, isn't real, or it's something that it can't be trusted. So what I want to do in this live stream is just talk about what it actually is, what it really is, and what it's not, how popular culture also gets it wrong, and how we actually use it in our practice and how it turns up differently for different people, what blocks it, how to strengthen it, and the role that shadow work can also play in helping you trust it, and the simple ways that you can start using it in your daily life. Now, you've probably all seen it on television. I've seen it on television. I grew up with it. I struggled with my intuition for a long, long time. And the reason why is because I tend to be more of a thinking type. I'm in my head a lot of the time. And I grew up in a culture where the rational thinking aspect was the aspect that was pushed. It's the aspect that we're taught in school. And the intuitive aspects of ourselves just don't get a look in. It's not part of our education system, and it's just not part of our upbringing for a lot of us. Hopefully that's changing, but that was certainly how it was in my day. So I struggled to really understand what my intuition was. I was expecting my intuition to work the way that intuition worked in the movies, where there's no hesitation, there's no work involved. It's just pure magical knowing. And I thought that's how it's supposed to be. I thought, I'm a witch. I should be a natural at this. I should just know. As with a lot of other witchy practices, I should just be able to do it magically because, you're born a witch. Some people are witches, some people aren't. And you have to have all of these magical powers and all of these superpowers in order to be a witch. And if you don't, then you're not a witch. And anyway, all of these myths around witchcraft that come a lot from the myths and the fairy tales and those things. So instead of feeling like I was a witch, I actually felt more like a fake because I just couldn't connect to my intuition. And so I ended up doubting myself and comparing the way that I intuit, which is through my cognitive ability, through my thoughts, through my ideas. I sort of just didn't really understand that that was how my intuition was working for me. I was just looking at, the whole Hollywood thing and the fairy tales and the myths. And so it wasn't actually until I learned more about intuition and I understood that it works for people differently. It comes to us in different ways. And when I started turning up for myself every day, doing daily practice and actually practicing witchcraft, that's when I started to tune into my intuition and learn that it was actually happening anyway. It's just I needed to listen to it and learn how to trust it. And it was a long journey. It's been a long journey to really trust my intuition. And I'd have to say that the inner work that I've done on, building confidence, getting rid of self-doubt has gone a long way to helping me trust my intuition. So if you've ever felt that way yourself, like your intuition, isn't loud enough or it's not clear enough, you're not alone. So, hello, Darren. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Michael. Hello, William. Blessings. Blessed be. And for you, those of you who don't know, I also have a book called Crafting Your Wiccan Path. So that's using magic, witchcraft to connect to spirit. So that is also available on Amazon, and you can find the links in the description field below the video. I keep forgetting to mention the book when I do my intros now. But it's a good read, and it gives you an insight into how I approach the craft. I come from a traditional sort of Wiccan background, and of course, Wicca's changed over the years. It's changed. Witchcraft in general is changing. It's a spiritual thing. Things change. Things don't stay the same, hopefully. We do go with the changes. And as we rise in consciousness and we become more conscious, these things do change. Hello, Fire Queen, Tarot 1313. Someone said witchcraft is spicy psychology. Hmm. And definitely has me shook. Doubting your intuition is something that needs to be healed as you begin this journey. Absolutely. Spicy psychology. Interesting. There's a lot of psychology in it. There's definitely no doubt about that. There's a lot of psychology in magic in general. Anyone, whether they're a mystic, whether they're a shaman or a magician or a witch or whatever other label you want to give yourself, if you are on the magical path, you do need to learn a lot about psychology in the way that we think, in the way that our subconscious mind works, because that influences our magic and it influences our connection to nature, our connection to ourselves. It influences our perception. So it's an important subject for sure. And there's a lot of psychology involved in magic, but it's not all psychology, of course. It's just an aspect of it. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is what intuition really is. Then I want to talk about the myth of the gifted intuition. So we've probably all heard that. Some people are very, very gifted. I think that comes from a more of a Christian context, the idea of being gifted, how witches actually use intuition, what blocks the intuition, how to strengthen your intuition, and the role of that inner work of self-knowledge, the know thyself work, which can also be called shadow work, and practical things that you can do on a daily basis. Okay. So what is intuition really? Intuition is a subtle knowing. It's a knowingness. You could say it's a gnosis, and it arises without any analysis coming from the rational part of our brain. Now, we can use that later, but it's like a knowing. Now, this knowing is going to be different for different people depending on how your intuition works for you. And I want to talk about that a little bit later, of what we call the clairs. We've got, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance. And these are all to do with different senses that our intuition will work through. So much like the emotions, our intuition works through our body, and we have some kind of a sensation of knowing. Now, if you're clairsentient, that's going to be stronger in you. If you're claircognizant, it's going to come through thoughts and ideas, and that's going to have an effect on you emotionally. If you're clairvoyant, you may have visions of things, and that's going to affect you physically. And if you're clairaudient, you're going to have more of an auditory sense of uh, your intuition. So it might be you might get a sense of something being said to you. You might hear in your hearing imagination that something is being said. You might hear words, you might hear phrases, that kind of thing. It doesn't mean you necessarily literally hear voices, or that if you're clairvoyant, you literally see things. Some people do. A lot of the time, for most of us, it's to do with how we would normally hear things in our imagination when we're imagining a song or something, or if you're imagining a scene and you're trying to remember a place and you go into your imagination and you remember what it looked like. Often that's how the visions will come to you. It comes in that way of visualizing, not necessarily seeing things as if they're outside of yourself or hearing things as if they're outside of yourself. It can happen. Some people do have that capacity. Most people don't. Most people, it's to do with more coming in more internally, if that makes sense. But it is something that's almost assumed. It's a felt sense in some way, like a whisper. It could be a nudge. It could be an energetic pull. You may not even be consciously aware you're following it. It could be a subconscious thing. So you subconsciously do something different to how you normally do something. And you find that by changing that that action has actually led you to something that's been really good for you, or it's helped you avoid something that was really bad for you. So the intuition can work consciously, but it can also work subconsciously as well. And what we want to do as witches is to understand that, yes, a lot of the time it's working subconsciously, but we want to bring it more to our conscious awareness, because sometimes we have choices that we have to make. And when we have choices and our conscious mind jumps in, that's when we start to use the logical thinking center and the rational aspect, and we neglect the intuitive aspect. And intuition, it's not the same as imagination, it's not the same as fantasy. It can work with those, but it's not the same thing. And it's also not the fear that we might have because we want to do something, but we're afraid to do it. And we think, oh, well, maybe that means I'm not supposed to do it. But the fear could actually be, it could be your intuition talking to you, but it can also be your subconscious beliefs that it's not safe for you to do something when really it is safe for you to do something. So that's why the know thyself work, the shadow work, is so important to help you learn to tune into your intuition. Now, the myth of the gifted intuition is presented to us, I think, by popular culture. It's makes for good movies, for sure. And so it often presents it as being something that someone's particularly gifted at, and other people don't have that capacity. Just as in Hollywood, they present people as witches. So the witches are different to everybody else because they have these particular powers already. They haven't had to learn how to develop them. They haven't had to learn how to work with them. They've just got them. And, they were just born that way. And so it's presented, these things are presented as being, instant, and they're quite dramatic. And often there's drama around the person when they first come into their power. And, you get all this drama around it, and then they have to learn how to use their power or something like that. So as a result of that, as I said before, many witches, or many people who even aren't witches, believe that if you don't have that happening for you, right out of the gate, then you're either not really a witch, or witchcraft isn't real, or you're just not good enough as a witch because you're not able to, pick up the signs and things like that. But intuition for most of us is a skill. Okay. We've all got intuition. We all have it. Some people, by their personality type, are going to be more intuitively oriented than others. Some people are more sensate oriented, so they're more grounded in the sensate world and very sensory in the way that they do things and the way that they make decisions. Other people are more intuitive in the abstract sense, in that we have more of an abstract way of looking at the world and seeing things. And so you have those aspects of personality. And but deep down, everybody has this other intuition. So this is the intuition of the inner knowing. We all have it. We just have to learn how to tune into it and learn how to trust it. Hi, Ian. Thank you for sharing. I've always had questions regarding my intuition. Awesome. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. If you've got any questions on the replay, pop them in the discussion field under the video. And yes, if you want to support the channel, there's super thanks for the people who are on live, and super chat. Sorry, super chat for those of you who are live, and super thanks for those of you who are on the replay. So the way that we use intuition is via various different senses. So that means, as I said before, we're going to receive information sometimes differently to how maybe the person next to you might be receiving it. So if you're in a training coven, for example, and you're trying to learn how you intuit things, you may find that the person next to you is, has a vision of something, and you're there going, I'm not seeing a thing. It's not there. And because intuition is often presented as a visual thing in a lot of, again, Hollywood, and also in myths. People have visions, they're seers, they see. We assume that to be intuitive, you need to see things or you need to feel things, when there's other ways that it can happen. So you might feel a sensation in your heart chakra for your intuition working for you. You may feel it in your gut, which is another way that your intuition can work with for you. You have this gut feeling, as we say, or you have a feeling in your heart chakra about something. If you're clairsentient, so this is if you receive your intuition through your body, through your senses, you may get an overall body sensation of something being off. You might feel off. You may even feel something on your skin, or as if there's something around you that you're feeling with your body. And that is what you go with when you're tuned into your clairsentience. If you are clairsentient, learn how to listen more to your body. Learn how to listen more to what you're experiencing sensationally when you go into different places and experience different people. And learn to tune into that, because that may be how your intuition mostly works for you. And that's what we differentiate. Some witches are going to be great at maybe even hearing things. Some people might hear thoughts. So it's like somebody speaking to them or somebody saying something. A lot of people who connect to deities will connect by the deities maybe speaking to them. So that means you're clairaudient. So you're using your hearing, so to speak, even if that's within your imagination, of what we call imagination. It's to do with listening and hearing. Hi, Stormcaller. I can't believe I'm going to make this public, but myself and my youngest daughter see images of dead people differently than when they're alive. I don't know how to describe how the images look. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yes, there are very many people who do see dead people. Thinking back to that movie, but yeah, it's very common, and I know a lot of witches who can see spirits, like they're very clairvoyant, as in they can see, they can see them. And that's what clairvoyance is, seeing, right? Other people can hear them, but can't see them. Other people can sense them through their body. If you're clairsentient, you may sense the presence of ghosts or spirits or other entities, but you don't necessarily see them. If you're claircognizant, like I am, mostly, and also a bit clairsentient, you will get thoughts coming in to and ideas coming in. You'll have an idea of something being there. You'll have an awareness, but it's kind of more like a coming more into the sphere of thought awareness. It's hard to describe it. Yeah, it's hard to describe claircognizance because it's coming through ideas and thoughts, and it's learning how to understand that and listen to that and not get it mixed up with the rational mind trying to talk to you too. So it can be a little bit tricky if you're claircognizant. It's in photos as well, so you see them in photographs. Hi, Krishna. How do you see the relationship between instinct and intuition? Instinct is something that is basically an automatic program in our mind. So if we see a snake, we instantly back off from it because it's instinct to back away from a snake. We've inherited a lot of our instincts too. So it's something that we move away from because it might be an inherited instinct, or it's just something we've learned to fear because we've had bad experiences with something in the past, and so we've learned to experience it. We're given instincts to survive. Some people mix the 2 up, say, "Oh, it's instinct," when it's intuition. I don't think it really matters what you call it. You could call it instinct, you could call it intuition. I wouldn't worry too much about the definitions or trying to even differentiate between, the 2 necessarily, but sometimes instinct can, it's more something you're programmed to respond to in a certain way. It's instinctive for us, for example, to be more aware of the negative of things, to be more aware of the dangers of something than to be confident and trust something, because to our survival, we need to be aware of dangers. Intuition is something that's coming from beyond yourself. It's coming more from your connection to the all, whereas instinct's more something that's coming from your genes and something that's part of your human makeup, and of course animal instincts from the other animals and their animal makeup. So it's coming more from biology, whereas intuition's coming more from our connection to spirit and our consciousness. It's probably the best way to describe the difference. Um, yeah. So Stormcaller 5, so like the photo looks different after they pass. Okay, and I suppose it's difficult for you to explain how they look different, but it would be interesting to if you could explain how they look different, because I'm not clairvoyant, so I've only had ever 2 clairvoyant experiences. My everything else comes through my thoughts and sometimes my senses. So once you kind of get an idea of you get a feeling that you're wanting to follow your intuition, you start to learn where it's coming from. Now, if you are visual, you probably already know that by now because you've probably already had visions in your experience of growing up and regular experience. Like, Stormcaller 5 knows that they're clairvoyant because they see things, right? So you know you're clairvoyant. So have a think about how your intuition has worked for you in the past. Like, do you get a sense in your body? Do you see? Do you hear? Do you think? Do you get ideas? How does it work for you? And it may be a couple, like you don't necessarily only have one way of intuiting. You can have multiple ways of intuiting too. You may be able to intuit through your senses as well as your vision. I am sensate as well as, cognizant, so I often will get, physical experience too, and I will tune into my body to get a sense of what I feel, and then I allow my thoughts to open up to any intuition coming in through those. So I use both of those senses together to help me tune into my intuition. I also use a sentient way of helping people tune into their intuition if I know they're probably not necessarily clairvoyant or because they haven't been seeing anything, is by actually connecting with the heart chakra or connecting with the gut area, your solar plexus area. And if you've got a question, a decision to make, or you're not sure of something, if you put your hand on your heart chakra, if you put your hand even on your solar plexus, and then tune into what you're feeling as a result of that. You could ask yourself the question, what am I sensing right now? Is this the way forward, or is this not the way forward? And if you have that contact with your hand on your heart chakra and on your solar plexus, just take notice of what you feel emotionally and how your body reacts. If something is yes, your body is going to be more straight. It's going to sit up straight and it may come forward a little bit. If it's a no, you're going to probably curve a little bit in your upper body and go back a little bit. So it's a bit of the kinesiology in there as well. If you're wanting to get into the more science aspects of magic, so it's listening to your body and just asking it those questions. If you're in a space that you're feeling isn't right, so you've gone into a space where there's a lot of spirit activity, then that's actually a good place to go to practice using your intuition because you can get an idea of what what you're picking up and how you're picking up on the activity. So if you go to a place that you know is haunted, or like even going to a graveyard where there will be spirit activity to some extent, you can learn to just sit there and meditate for a while and meditate there regularly so that you're learning to tune into is around you and how do you respond to that? How are you feeling the presence? Are you getting ideas about presence? Are you seeing? Are you hearing? How is it working for you? You can also practice using your intuition when you're selecting spell materials. So when you've got a spell and you're going, okay, I'm going to do the spell, sure, you can go to a book and you can look up all the correspondences and use your intellect and work it out that way. Or you could just give yourself a test every so often and go, okay, I know that, cinnamon is good for money spells, but does cinnamon feel right? Or in this case, if I'm wanting to do, say, a money spell, what do I feel would go well with the cinnamon, for example, and allow yourself to tune into your options. That could be again through your feeling, through your thoughts, and through seeing or through hearing. So when you're selecting your spell materials, you could start to use your intuition and learn to trust your intuition that way. When you're doing a ritual, but this is particularly a good place to start working on this idea too, is if you've set up a circle or if you're just doing a ritual of some kind, tune into the energy. So when you invoke, say, the four quarters, how do you experience that circle differently to how it was before you actually set up that space? How is the space different? Do you see it differently? Do you hear it differently? Do you sense it in your body differently? Do you have different thoughts coming in? How are you experiencing that circle being different? Thank you, Kimberly, for the super chat. How are you experiencing it differently? What's different about the space now that you've called in the quarters and you've set up the circle to how it was when you first started? And just allow yourself to listen or to see. That's a great way to work. And then if you're calling in the god and goddess, or if you're just working with one deity, how does it feel different when you've called them in, you've connected to them? And I teach all of this, of course, in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, how to call in the deities and how to connect to them. Um, what feels different? Or I keep using the word feel because I'm coming from that sentient place, but what's different? Do you see colors in your circle? Do things look different even to your physical eyes when you create a circle? What do you hear? What thoughts are coming into your head? What ideas are coming into your head? What are you seeing in your mind's eye? These are all the things to look out for. Okay. Hi, James. Bright blessings from Apolkian Mountains of West Virginia. Awesome. Krishna. So listening to your body's reaction to a thought, as you suggested, is based on the instinctual reaction to a question. So intuition is more elated and expanded mode of instinct, I suppose. It does have a more of an expanded feeling. True, it probably feels the same way as an instinct. The thing with instinct often is that it's subconscious. You just act on it anyway. You're not really thinking about it. You're not pondering it. It just happens. Uh, like you see the snake and you back away from it, right? Whereas with intuition, that can happen too. Your intuition may pull you away from something, but it's different. It's a very different reaction, the reaction of intuition, then it's very difficult to put it into words because often you don't find out that it was intuition until after the fact. If you're trying to tune into your intuition to ask it, "Is this the way forward?" then you're going to get, yeah, a much broader feeling for sure. Hi, Toby. Can we close ourselves off to intuition? Yes, absolutely. Sometimes these feelings are profoundly sad, or is it something else? Uh, if you're empathic, so as an empath, you might be more prone to being too open to what's going on around you. So yes, it is good to be able to shield yourself from things that are going on around you if you're more empathic. So it's like having a switch that you can turn on and turn off so that you're not always open to the emotions and things that are going on around you. With an empath, what you're really open to is emotion. So you're picking up all the emotions that are going on in the environment around you, the people around you, the neighborhood, all of that kind of thing. And that can be incredibly draining. But it's more that you're tuning into emotion as an empath rather than it necessarily being intuition as such. One of the best ways to learn to develop your intuition is to work with divination tools like tarot, the runes, uh, any other form of, like oracle cards, the I Ching, whatever type of divination that you like to use, the Ogham. That's a great way to tune into your intuition. And I've got a video coming up this week, later in the week, that is showing you how to tune into your intuition using the tarot. Because the tarot is a really great way to tune into your intuition. It makes it easy to tune into intuition with the tarot, particularly if you're a visual person and you find that looking at imagery is something that really can help stimulate your intuition. So using divination tools is a great way to practice your intuition. Don't look at the book. Feel into what it means or listen to what it means. See what you can see. Close your eyes. What do you see when you hold the rune in your hand? And I've even had clairvoyant experiences holding runes, actually, I'd have to say, when I was doing my first degree uh, ordeal, what we called ordeal. So it was the test that you had to do before you did each degree. And for me, or for all of us that all my cohort that went through our first degree together, we had to take a rune, and our high priest had put his a year of his life, of his memory into the rune, and then we had to I think we were holding the rune for about 5 minutes, and then we had to basically write down what we experienced holding the rune, and I did see things from that were very accurate to the year that he put into my rune. So you can cross over with your abilities, and you can develop your abilities more as well by practicing these things. And practicing with another person is a great way to also work with your intuition. So what you do is you get somebody to put their an image or something, a memory of theirs into a it could be a gemstone, it could be a rock, it could be a piece of jewelry, and then you will then take that piece of jewelry or rock or whatever it is and then hold it, go into a meditative state and just allow yourself to tune into it and see what you get. Do you get visions? Do you get sound? Do you get feelings? What do you get? And that's called psychometry. So that is a skill that some people have more than others, but it's something that you can also develop, and it's a way of helping you connect to your intuition because it's using your senses. It can also be using your visualization or your hearing or whatever way that you perceive the most. So that's another way. Now, witchcraft, of course, involves all of this intuitive stuff, but witchcraft also involves other things like ritual, like magic, like energy work. And the more that you do of all of those things, daily practice, setting up circles, working with the lunar energies, they all help contribute to your connection to your intuition. So every aspect of witchcraft is going to help you trust your intuition more as you trust yourself as you're practicing the craft more. Now, if you want to start a witchcraft practice, but you're not sure about where to start, I want to mention my free masterclass called How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. There's a link in the description field below this video, and you can also find it on my website, mysterywitchschool.com. And that just gives you an overview of what we do as witches and where to start your practice. I like to start with energy work because it helps, once again, tune you into your body and energy, which will help your intuition. And of course, that's all to do with magic. Your energy is everything when it comes to magic, learning how to conserve it, learning how to work with it. And that's where I like to start. And so I give you basically a year plan of what you can start and how you can pace yourself along the way if you're trying to learn witchcraft. So that's how to start your witchcraft practice, and all of the links there. It's also in the chat as well. So these are ways that you can expand your intuition through using tarot, through doing ritual, just observing how you feel, how you react in different circumstances, different people. So you could take yourself out to a shopping mall and just go and sit where it's really busy, maybe an eatery where people are all gathered, and just sense, what are you feeling? Do you see anything? Do you hear anything in your imagination? How are you intuiting the energy around you? If you've got a question, you've got choices, okay, and you're wanting to use your intuition to follow those choices or know which road to take next, this is where you can light a candle, go into a meditative state, and put your hand on your heart or on your gut or both, and just ask yourself, what is next for me? And allow yourself to just tune into how you feel, what you're thinking, what ideas might be coming to you or not, what you're seeing, what you're hearing. And just use that as an exercise. At first, you might not get much. At first, your rational mind's probably going to be coming in and giving you a bit of a commentary on what's not happening or what isn't happening. You may get things coming to you, and then the commentary will come in. Oh, that's just your imagination. Oh, that's just wishful thinking. Oh, you're just, this isn't real. This is just your imagination. That's okay. It will do that. But just try to get it to step aside for a moment or two and just allow yourself to connect with what you're feeling, where you want to go next. If you have two choices, you can then give yourself, okay, this is option one. How do I react to option one? How is your body reacting when you ask yourself about that option? What are you feeling? What are you seeing? Then give yourself the other option. How are you reacting to that option? What are you thinking? What are you seeing? Is it just in your body? Is there thoughts associated with it? Just taking notice and being really good at self-observation is so important to connecting to your intuition. You do need to become an observer of self on the magical path. So this is when know thyself comes in, being an observer of self, knowing what is truly coming in through connection to spirit, connection to your higher self, and what's just all of the noise around you, and what's the programming in the mind that you've been programmed with from childhood to have you believe things about yourself and the world that aren't necessarily true. This is a journey into the self, the magical path. It's not just about bringing in money and love and all of these things we see in Hollywood. It's not just about, the abracadabra and the magic and everything happening around us. The real magic is what actually changes within us. So the know thyself work, the shadow work, really is the real guts of the witchcraft practice. And that's why in some covens, the second degree of witchcraft is devoted to the shadow work and self-exploration. So in first degree, you learn all of the basics of, magic, spell casting, ritual, all of those things. And then in second degree, you start to focus more on that inner journey of know thyself. Krishna, yeah, I find I'm good at initially evaluating someone's energy, but when the relationship's been long standing, I find it difficult to recognize if their energy isn't as sincere as it was to begin with. Probably because you're getting used to that person and you're getting more comfortable with that person. And so sometimes it's easy to overlook things when you're becoming a little bit more connected to somebody for sure. Yeah. We still need to keep that observation happening sometimes. Other people might find the opposite. Some people find that they become more intuitive towards somebody that they're close to and have developed a relationship with as well. Just depends. So, what blocks the intuition is overthinking, needing to be right all the time, doubting yourself, needing things to be perfect all the time. So, perfectionism, comparisonitis, comparing yourself to other people, can block your intuition. Or it's not that it's blocking your intuition; it's blocking you from listening to it. Essentially, you could have information overload as well from just what's around you culturally, from people, from social media, from all of these things, and so your intellect sort of jumping up and down, swinging from tree to tree, trying to find solutions because there's a lot of information that's come in and you're confused. And so the intuition, tuning into your intuition should be able to help you out of that confusion. So if you're finding that you're confused about making a decision or you're confused about knowing, what to do, then you can put your hand on your heart and on your gut and just ask yourself, what do I really feel drawn to at this stage? And tuning in that way. A good way to connect with your intuition and to understand what's blocking your intuition is to keep a journal too. So if you're practicing every day and turning up for a daily practice every day, if you journal what you're experiencing, like you might find that you had an intuitive idea that you should do something, but you didn't listen to it because it was just a flash of an idea and you went with the another idea instead. And then you have the experience and you go, damn it, I wish I'd listened to my intuition, or I wish I'd made that first choice. I wish I'd done it that way. That's what I thought first, but I ignored it and I did otherwise. We've all had that experience. Jot it down, journal it. What did you experience when you had that intuitive feeling? Was it like just a flash of something? Was it just you were physically drawn to something, but then you decided to go away from it? Was it an idea that you had? Was it a thought that you had? Did you see something? Did you hear something? What was it that you had in that instant? Because often intuition is an instant thing, it happens quite fast and you may not pick up on it. But when you learn to listen to how you intuit things, the next time it happens, or even if you ignore it and make the same mistake next time, the more you observe the results of not listening to your intuition and you go back and go, well, how did I experience that intuitive knowing? You'll get better at actually understanding it when it does happen again. So that's where the observation, the self observation comes in, using your journal comes in. How did I react to that situation? What made me not go with the intuitive idea? What stopped me from doing that? Was it a thought? No, was it my thinking, my rational center? Did I start to analyze the situation? Did I start to go, oh no, I don't really have time to do that? Or oh no, I think I can't, afford that today, or whatever it was. What actually stopped you from taking action on the intuition? And if you already know that you've had situations like that before, let me know in the chat or in the comments field what you've experienced and how you've experienced that when you've known that, okay, I think my intuition was telling me to do something or not do something, and I went and done the opposite. And in retrospect, how do you know the difference from when you look back at it? What was different about the experience of your intuition compared to the experience that you had when you went against it? And where was that coming from? Okay. So even if you've got mundane decisions to make on a daily basis, like what to have for breakfast, if you don't have the same thing every morning for breakfast, or maybe you just what am I going to have for dinner or something like that, practice tuning into your intuition or tuning into your feeling. So you could do again that hand on heart and just go, what do I want for dinner? And tune into what your body's wanting for dinner, what you intuitively would like out of your fridge for dinner, and work with it that way. Really mundane things. If you need to go shopping, when does it feel right to go shopping? Little questions of everyday little activities. You can learn to step back, put your hand on your heart, and then just feel into the question, what am I having for dinner? And just learn to listen to the information that you get back. Okay, and see if you can learn to listen. I think that's really what it's about. Your body is intuitive too. And when it comes to nutrition, your body instinctively generally knows what's good for it and what's not so good for it, even if it's been badly trained. Uh, so learning to listen to your body and what your body really wants compared to what your mind thinks it wants can be a great way of using your intuition to help you change your eating habits as well if you're looking at trying to become healthier with your eating too. So just daily things, what feels true to me is another question to ask yourself. And even when it comes to scrolling through YouTube, and what are you going to click on? The algorithm brings you up all this stuff, right? And some of it looks interesting and some of it doesn't. You think, when am I going to have time to watch some of it when there's a lot of it? And you could just go, well, what feels true to me right now? And tune into and go with that and see where that takes you. So just little things. Remembering to meditate, to ground yourself. There are ways to strengthen your intuition. So, other ways to strengthen it. Meditation is probably one of the most important things you could ever do in any magical practice to get you more connected to yourself, to get you more connected to spirit and your intuition. So, meditation is very important. And that's one of the reasons I talk about it a lot. And I teach it in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy to those of you wanting to learn witchcraft with me. Meditation is really important, and meditation doesn't mean that you have to have your mind blank for half an hour or that you've got to just focus on a candle flame for half an hour. What meditation is really trying to get you to do is to quiet the mind and get all of that ego stuff away out of the way and to help you listen to your intuition, listen just to your higher self, listen so that you can experience your connection to all and everything. You can experience the magic that's out there. You can experience how, the elements and everything are working within you, and you can experience the reality of what's really going on around you. That's really what meditation is for, is to help wake you up to what's really happening in this magical world that we live in, and to take us away from the mundane captivity that we have to this material world, because there's nothing really material about it. It's all energy. And meditation helps you understand that and connect more to it. So that's why it's such an important magical practice. And that's why I teach meditation. When it comes to the know thyself aspect, be aware that things like fear that you've learned, fears you've learned, shame, guilt, self-doubt, self-trust issues are going to interfere with your trust of listening to your intuition and taking action on your intuition as well. So that's where the shadow work comes in, of learning what beliefs are holding you back from doing what you want to do and being who you really are, and learning to change those beliefs and change that perception of yourself in the world, and acting differently and being different so that you become the person you truly know yourself to be. So that's the shadow work's role in that. It also helps clear the chakra channels to help you with intuition too, because at each chakra level, we have beliefs that can be holding up the energy or blocking the energy in those chakras. And for your third eye chakra to be open to your intuition and open to the vision of yourself for the future, and the ability to perceive things the way they really are, the lower chakras need to be working properly. Otherwise, your third eye chakra is only going to be seeing what it's seeing from the lower chakras, and if they're all blocked up with a lot of negativity and a lot of doubt and not seeing the world as it truly is, it means that you're not gonna have a clearer vision for yourself of where you wanna go with your life and who you are and what the world truly is like. You'll be perceiving the world in a different way. So working with the chakras is really great for helping your intuition. So doing chakra work, I totally recommend chakra work to help you there. And I know that a lot of people in the new age scene like to focus on the upper chakras, but if you don't clean up the lower chakras, it's very hard to work with the upper ones. Okay. Hi, Andrew from Texas. Okay, so yes, there are things to help work with that. Now, your daily practice, if you're doing a daily practice, totally recommend you do a daily practice. And I've talked about what you can do. I think that was in the last live. Uh, just ask yourself the question every morning: What do I need to know today? Okay, what do I need to know today? And just write down. Automatic writing. Just write down anything that comes to mind. Some people aren't good with writing. I'll have to admit, I'm one of those people. I find that automatic writing slows my claircognizance down, and I'm actually better at talking rather than writing because thought's very fast. And so if you are claircognizant, you might find that if you do try to do automatic writing, it might slow you might find you're not as connected because you're having to slow down to write, whereas you can speak faster. So you might find that speaking into a recording device, like speaking into your phone and asking that question, what do I need to know today? Into your phone might work better for you if you're claircognizant. I find it works better for me. So you're basically just letting yourself talk and not editing it, not even trying to think about what you're saying, just allowing it to come out. And that's another way to tune into what's going on with your intuition and what you intuitively do know you need to know today. If you're struggling with that, try pulling an oracle card or a tarot card or a rune and write down the first impression that you get from that card or from the rune without editing it. Any thoughts, any ideas, write it down. And then practice responding to that throughout the day and see what that feels like to actually respond to whatever it was that you wrote down that day, whether it's from the tarot card or whether it's from straight from your intuition. Try that and do it on a daily basis because when you practice things on a daily basis, you get better at it. Witchcraft is a practice. We call it a practice. The free masterclass I spoke about before is called How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. So it is about practicing the craft. So it is something you need to practice, preferably on a daily basis, so that you get better at listening to your intuition and better at connecting to yourself and the world. And one of the wonderful things about working with your intuition is the sense of connection it gives you to yourself and the sense of connection it gives you to just being part of the all and spirit. And when you're working with deities, there's that sense of connection that you have when you wake your intuition up to you. So it's it's an interesting thing, intuition, because you get better at listening to it the more ritual and the more magic you do, and the more magic and more ritual you do, uh, the better your intuition, and the better your intuition becomes, the better your rituals become. So they kind of help each other move along. So if this live stream did resonate with you today, and you do want to go deeper, not just with intuition, but also with your witchcraft practice. If you're wanting to build a witchcraft practice that's, quite full and empowering and, helps you bring more joy and peace into your life, then I do invite you to join me in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. That's a 12-month course. It helps you integrate witchcraft into your everyday life with confidence and with clarity, with ease. And you learn rituals, you learn spells, you learn the intuitive development, and also know thyself as well. You do a little bit of deep dive into yourself, and it's all step by step. Okay, there's no overwhelm there because it's all there for you. You get your month's worth of practice, you practice it, and then you move on to the next month, which builds on the month before. So there's just in the description field below the video, there's links to where you can find out more about that on my website, mysterywitchschool.com. It's called the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. And I've had people join that who aren't even new witches. They've been practicing the craft for a long time, but they've joined it to get a little bit more structure into their practice because they've just been practicing here and there and living life as a witch, but not necessarily bringing the practice into their life to give more of a foundation to a sense of connection. And I think that's connection is what a lot of people are looking for. Okay, so Ian, blessed be. Blessed be. So the more you show up for your intuition, the more your intuition is going to show up for you. So the more you show up for your witchcraft practice, the more it's going to help you, the more it's going to give you. So it's about showing up for yourself and developing all of these skills as a witch so that witchcraft can actually bring more joy into your life beyond just doing spells. It's really can be so much more fulfilling when we get our head away from just doing spells and into the practices of witchcraft itself. That's really where the rubber meets the road. It's not in the spell casting as such, and that's an aspect of it, but the real fulfillment comes from connecting to the spirit of existence and that great connection to all and everything that we're a part of. And that's the practice, that's the daily practice, that's the turning up for yourself and learning all of these skills. Daily living with intention. Absolutely, Andrew. Absolutely. Okay. So thank you everybody for coming along to this live. Thank you for watching the replay. And there'll be another one next week. Have a wonderful week, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Liking really does help with the algorithm, and also commenting as well helps with the algorithm as well. So thank you for that, and we'll see you next week.